Hi, I'm Austin,
I'm Alex,
and you were listening to One Last Breath, an autopsy of awful albums.
where we discuss the most controversial, bizarre, divisive, and downright abysmal albums. For our very first episode, we'll be covering Lulu, the infamous collaboration between thrash metal titans Metallica and the mega influential Velvet Underground frontman slash singer-songwriter Lou Reed. The beginnings of this album can be traced to 2009 when Metallica and Lou Reed performed a couple of songs together at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 25th anniversary concert. After the performance, they began discussing the idea of a collaboration that eventually came into fruition 2 years later in 2011. Forming in 1981, Metallica originally consisted of lead vocalist and rhythm guitarist James Hetfield, lead guitarist Dave Mustaine, bassist Ron McGovney, and drummer Lars Ulrich. Dave Mustaine and Ron McGovney were replaced by Kirk Hammett and Cliff Burton before the recording of Metallica's first studio album,
And you know what? Good for them for getting out early.
I don't know really if Ron McGovney ever went on to do anything.
I've never heard his name, so probably not.
Probably not.
But Dave Mustaine went on to do better shit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you there. I mean, I love both bands, but I mean, he did make Rest in Peace, so can't really top that. But yeah, so after Cliff Burton's tragic death in 1986, he was replaced by Jason Newsted, who in turn was replaced by Rob Trujillo in 1980, or wait, not 1983, that's a fucking typo, 2003.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was replaced, like before Cliff Burton even passed away, they just fucking...
It was like, the vibe's off.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, new fact you learn, Rob Trujillo has played on every Metallica album.
Yeah, he just cooks better.
Yeah, I mean, dude was in Suicidal Tendencies, he fucking shreds the bass. But yeah, so up until Lulu's release, Metallica had been really testing their legacy, starting with their early 90s output. They opened up their career with a run of four, in my eyes, timeless classics, and a lot of the metal community's eyes, and Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Injustice for All, establishing themselves as the leader of the thrash metal movement, leader of the Big Four.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, even though I don't like the albums, they're very important albums.
Yeah.
I'm glad they came out.
Yeah. Definitely influenced a lot of music as a whole. So yeah, in 1991, with the release of their fifth studio album, referred to as the Black Album, or just Metallica, kind of a self-titled album, the consistence kind of changed on them. They were as big as ever commercial-wise, but the album divided fans with a toned-down, more hard rock-leaning style. And then in 96 and 97, Load and Reload took it even further, having grunge, alternative rock tendencies, country tendencies even a little bit.
I don't understand when bands are like at the height of their career. Mm-hmm. They're like, you know what, that thing we've been doing, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean...
I understand changing and evolving, like, you can be good, but I think you need to do it a little bit slower. I don't think you can just come out with... so you have even a metal album. Here is a country album.
I mean, it's not that extreme, but...
They're not a guy from Asking Alexandria.
Yeah, no Disney Warstop. Yeah, I mean, the Black Album, I would say it's still thrash. It's just more hard, I guess maybe if AC/DC made a thrash album.
Oh, so terrible.
But yeah, and then Load and Reload, I don't think I've listened to them in full, but, what I've heard is kind of just... even more so watered down from the already watered down thrash that the Black Album has. So, but yeah, so fans weren't really for the most part a fan of that. But then they released a compilation and a live album throughout the years, and then they returned to the studio in 2003 to release Saint Anger.
Ah,
yeah,
the famous one.
Yeah, and it brought back the heavier edge they had in a few albums, but it was kind of contained in the realm of alternative metal, like...
maybe they just listened to Stomp and were like, trash cans make really good drums.
Wait, Stomp?
Stomp, it's like that performance art thing where they're just banging on trash. It's like a drum performance. They just bang on trash cans. Oh,
it's like the Blue Man Group type shit?
Yeah, kind of. It's just called Stomp. I had to watch it in middle school chorus or something.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Much better than Saint Anger from what I've heard about Saint Anger.
Yeah. We might have to cover Saint Anger one day. You never know.
Lord.
But, yeah, like I said, it brought back a heavier edge, but was kind of catering to the sounds of metal of the early 2000s. Like, not necessarily new metal, but, like, the alternative metal.
Yeah, the metal everyone hates, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless you grew up with it, you don't like it.
Yeah. Metalheads, hardcore metalheads do not like that stuff. Didn't have any solos that the fans love from Metallica, and I had the snare drum, the infamous snare drum. So, yeah, not a lot going for them. In 2008, Death Magnetic came out, and it patched a little bit of the wounds that the old school Metallica fans had suffered, but it seemed that one more misstep would kind of, put the final nail in the coffin of Metallica's credibility, if they had any left at this point. So going to the other half of this baffling collaboration, Lou Reed. He was no stranger to critical and commercial struggles himself. All 4 Velvet Underground albums that he performed on were pretty much largely ignored by the general public and received mixed reviews upon release. The same can be said for a majority of his solo material, although over time, his solo material, along with the Velvet Underground, became cult classics of the underground rock scene and, trailblazers for a lot of the subgenres of rock and pop music, punk, post-punk,
From what I've heard of Lou Reed, it was really just a lot of stuff that was way before its time.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was a visionary.
Yeah. But yeah, the critical and commercial success was, kind of lacking for a lot of it, and this really came to a head in 1975 with the release of Metal Machine Music, an experimental noise album that threw melody, rhythm, and conventional song structure out the window for droning guitar feedback sans any other instrument.
Exciting.
Yeah, I remember when I had, I guess probably just scouring Wikipedia articles and shit, found out about that album. I was like, it probably can't be that awful, but that was before I had really known about drone music or anything of the like.
Yeah,
so when you hear
not...
guitar feedback, I was like, it might just be a bunch of riffs with really heavy feedback.
But no, probably just feedback.
Yeah, it's literally just sounds like you're fucking like having, like when you
try to plug it in and it just goes.
Yeah, just a whirring, buzzing sound. It's literally that for like 45, 50 minutes.
See, like, noise music is good if you're someone who likes noise music.
Yeah, I'm personally, not a fan. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it, but it does have a
There's like 7 people that really like noise music, and that's who that album is for.
Yeah, Reddit. That's kind of the noise fan base, I feel like. But yeah, it was described by James Wolcott of Rolling Stone as sounding like the tubular groaning of a galactic refrigerator. So, it's been a while since I've heard it, but I would say that's pretty accurate. It was considered a career-killing album, but Reed went on to release 15 more solo albums to varying degrees of success. But
15?
15 more. So, yeah, not including...
So that's a total of, 20 albums he's been on?
About, I think he maybe had... Well, been on, yeah. There was 4 Velvet Underground albums, then I think before Metal Machine Music, he might have had 4 or maybe 5 solo albums. So yeah, about 25-ish albums that he's been on, including Lulu.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so, I guess it really wasn't a career killer. But, his legacy had long been cemented before that, definitely before Lulu. So, in terms of what both artists had to lose, Metallica definitely had a lot more to lose.
Yeah.
So, although the combination of the two, Metallica and Lou Reed, seems like it came out of a random artist generator, they both had a track record of making bold creative choices that alienated fans and critics alike. So, might seem a little out of pocket that they would have collabed, but I feel like they have a very similar headspace when it comes to just, doing what the fuck they want to. Yeah. Not really caring to cater to the fans or critics. Originally, Lulu was intended to be an album where Metallica would re-record previously unreleased tracks Reed had written over time. Among these recordings were songs composed for a play called Lulu, which was an adaptation of 2 plays written by German expressionist playwright Frank Wedekind. In those plays, the titular character becomes a sex worker, is sold into slavery, and becomes a victim of Jack the Ripper. Both parties decided to focus solely on this material, with Metallica writing brand new instrumentals and Lou Reed providing lyrics and lead vocal duties. Upon release, Lulu was almost universally critically panned and ridiculed. Journalist Chuck Klosterman, in his review for Grantland, said, "If the Red Hot Chili Peppers acoustically covered the 12 worst Primus songs for a Starbucks, it would still be slightly better than this."
It's true.
Justin Marzalek of The Quietus suggested time spent listening to Lulu could be better spent watching grass grow or perhaps wanking into a sock. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, much more productive.
Yeah. Not all reviews were negative, however. In a 10 out of 10 review by J.R. Moores of Drowned in Sound.
What an idiot.
Yeah. He praised the album, saying it was the second greatest record ever made in the history of the human eardrum.
What was the first? Did you find out?
Only behind Metal Machine Music by Lou Reed.
So this was just Lou Reed's pen name.
Yeah. I mean, although he assured skeptics that every point made about the album was sincere, this review can probably be chalked up as a tongue-in-cheek joke, but...
It could also just be Lou Reed writing under a pseudonym.
I mean, yeah, I would.
Because I didn't get any of this in my notes, but I know that like Lou Reed defended the album hard.
Yeah.
Against critics, which I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
You're fucking Lou Reed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he really cared what critics thought.
So like, the critics were right. This album sounds like if you went on YouTube, right, and you searched up guitar backing tracks. And then you got your grandfather, who has never made music, to freestyle on it.
Dude, I literally, like, a lot of the songs made me think if Grandpa Simpson just fucking went to a bar.
Yeah, it's just fucking Abe Simpson doing karaoke.
Just went to, like, a butt rock karaoke bar, biker bar, and just fucking started freestyling on, like, Hinder instrumentals. Like, I don't...
I think Hinder instrumentals are mostly better than this album.
Yeah, I would agree. But, yeah, so a review on the website, Uncut, singled out closing track, Junior Dad, calling it breathtaking, astonishing, and a perfect ending to the most extraordinary, passionate, and just plain brilliant record either participant has made in a long while. But fan reaction was arguably even worse, especially from Metallica fans who, according to Reed, threatened to shoot him over the album. At one point, a music video for the only single of the album, entitled The View, had about twice as many dislikes than likes on YouTube. I tried to look at an actual number, but I mean, dislikes have been removed on YouTube, sadly, so couldn't really get an exact number on that. But this song also spawned the infamous I Am the Table memes. This album is still used today as an easy jab on Metallica's credibility and is widely considered a monumental embarrassment and head-scratching moment from both parties, although most hardcore Metallica fans try to treat it as a first rule of Fight Club. Lulu proved to be the last album Lou Reed released in his prolific career, as he passed away in 2013 at the age of 71 from liver disease. Metallica has remained a powerhouse act, selling out arenas worldwide. In 2016, the band released Hardwired to Self-Destruct to generally positive reviews, and a new album entitled 72 Seasons is slated to come out in April of this year.
Oh, I didn't know you had a new album in the works. Now, I'm a known Metallica hater.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a Metallica lover. I mean, of course their first 4 albums are classics in my book. Black Album is, I can leave it or take it. I mean,
there's just this sentiment amongst a lot of my friends of Metallica. Like they're one of the big 4 of thrash, but they're the worst of the big 4.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where you're coming from. I mean, the big 4 is hard to rank for me, because I feel like they're all fairly different. I mean, Metallica and Megadeth are kind of similar, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I mean, Megadeth is Dave Mustaine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course they're similar. It's same band.
So, I mean, and then Slayer, I mean, they lean more towards, like, death metal.
Yeah.
I would say, like, the more extreme side of thrash, and then Anthrax is more so, like, the comical, like, almost more punk-inspired side of thrash, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, Metallica's just... I don't know. Their instrumentals can be fine. I don't like the band.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough.
Which made going into this album really hard.
Yeah.
Lou Reed is someone that I have not gotten into. I know a lot of people who like Lou Reed, who like the Velvet Underground. I've heard a couple songs. They're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to, I think it's just self-titled, their first album.
Is that the one with the Andy Warhol? Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I know a few Lou Reed solo songs, like Walk on the Wild Side, everybody knows that song.
There was another one, I forgot it, whatever.
Yeah, there's been a few hits that he had in his solo career, mostly like his earlier output. Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself any type of informed on, I mean, I know the Velvet Underground is very influential, along with Lou Reed, but, I mean,
at the end of the day, we both know Metallica and have differing opinions. Neither of us really know Lou Reed.
Yeah.
So this is a really hard album to go into. Now, I don't know if you looked at the sales numbers.
No, I don't think I did.
The album.
I might have glanced at them, but I didn't
So the
write
album
anything down.
actually managed to debut at number 36 on the Billboard 200.
Okay, that's.
Which is wild.
I
In
feel
the
like
first,
a lot of that was mostly morbid curiosity, probably.
in the first week, it sold 13,000 copies, which was really good for Lou Reed.
I mean, yeah.
As a man who is known for cult classics, not critical successes.
Yeah.
The problem was, 3 years later, it had only managed to sell right under 33,000 albums.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, going hand in hand with the sales, I found that it debuted at number 36. It was Metallica's lowest charting release since 1984, when Ride the Lightning entered at number 48. But conversely, it was Lou Reed's highest charting release since Sally Can't Dance at number 10 in 1974. So
yeah, the man's not known for writing albums that people like until like 20 years later.
Yeah.
So maybe in 10 years people will be singing the praises of Lulu. But you'll know what we think about that by the end of the episode.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like those, that little factoid kind of speaks to the just like, I don't know, just the weird nature of this album, like the weird mix-up of these two artists. Like,
yeah, it's so strange. Did you watch the performance? I didn't get to. I couldn't find the time.
Didn't
okay,
I need to though. The performance that sparked the creation of this album.
Yeah. So from what I could tell, it was just them covering a couple Velvet Underground songs.
I think it was a Velvet Underground song and a Lou Reed solo song.
Okay, and I'm sure that was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would probably be pretty decent.
Probably pretty good. I mean, they probably didn't change it much.
Yeah.
Metallica's all proficient musicians. They can easily cover a Velvet Underground song.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this album would work better if, I don't know, like if Lou Reed wasn't doing spoken word type stuff. Like if he was actually more so singing and Metallica more so did like, I mean, there was a bunch of parts in this album that were more so string focused.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they took that approach for a lot of the album and, that would better suit his spoken word.
Yeah,
but then, if they wanted to keep the heaviness, they should have had him do some singing or implement James more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I agree. I honestly think the album would have been much better had it just been a Lou Reed solo effort.
Yeah, especially with because I'm like, I don't really know who they thought this album was made for, because, like, it's too Metallica for me to see, like, Lou Reed diehard fans to be into.
And it's too Lou Reed for anybody to be into.
Yeah, it's like, especially for fucking metal fans. I mean, I know the subject matter is pretty morbid and graphic.
Yeah, I mean, if you can understand what he's talking about.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know how many Metallica fans are going to be into German expressionism from the late 1800s, so, like...
Yeah, I don't
know.
I don't know. You ready to get into the track by track?
Yeah.
Okay,
let's go for it.
So Brandenburg Gate is the first track, and I like it as an intro track because it really lets you know what you're in for.
Yeah, I think the acoustic intro was a little misleading. I mean, I feel like that's more so from the lyrics, from what I could gather. It's not really part of the story. It kind of seems like
a narrator talking about the story in the third person.
Yeah.
But it does open with what I think might be it's probably my favorite line on the album. I would cut my legs and tits off when I think of Boris Karloff and Kinski.
Yeah, so isn't Boris Karloff, he played Frankenstein, I think?
I believe so.
Yeah, and he was a German actor, and then Kinski, I think, was the guy who played Nosferatu.
That sounds
so
correct.
That's why I think it's more so, like, not part of the narration, because I guess he's mentioning older German media.
Yeah, which
like,
is...
I don't know if that's just him, like, why he wants to cut his legs and tits off.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't really know if that's supposed to relate to the character.
The problem is that absurdity, it's really absurd. It's really enjoyable, that line.
Yeah.
The problem is it never becomes that enjoyable again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it. There's certain sections that, like, just for the just absurdity of them, like, I can think of, and just I'm like, I don't know, like, it's just funny to think about.
There were a few chuckles in this album.
Yeah, but a lot of the ideas are just pretty drawn out. Like, okay, so I think this is a pretty good review of it. Steve Berman from Pitchfork said, "For all the hilarity that ought to ensue here, Lulu is a frustratingly noble failure. Audacious to the extreme, but exhaustingly tedious as a result, its few interesting ideas are stretched out beyond the point of utility and pounded into submission.
Yeah,
so I think that's
fair.
That's a very fair assessment.
It's a very boring album.
Yeah, it just seems like every song just focuses on one or two lines and just repeats them endlessly for like 8 fucking minutes.
I've been in a spoken word band for like 5 years now. I know how spoken word should sound, and this is not it.
Yeah,
you need to expand your ideas. If you want to repeat something, write a chorus.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Also liked in this opening track the small town girl part that James Hetfield comes in with.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like, small town girl. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what they were thinking about this. And the problem is this is the shortest track on the album.
Yeah, this and I think Iced Honey are the two shortest. Around.
That sounds about correct.
Yeah, around 4 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
But closer to 5, really?
Yeah.
They're like 4.5, 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then I know The View is around 5 or 6 minutes.
5 or 6 minutes.
And then I think everything else is at least 7 minutes. Or
at least
longer.
7 minutes, and there is a 10-minute track and a 20-minute track.
Yeah. So.
The album we didn't say this, but the album goes on for almost 2 hours.
Yeah. I think it's. No, I think it's like an hour.
It's an hour. It's an hour 40. It's like an hour 40, 42, somewhere around there. But it's much long. It's about an hour longer than it should be.
Yeah.
And that's being gracious.
Yeah, but so yeah, moving on to The View. I mean, I Am the Table.
I Am the Table.
That's the main thing I got from this song.
And that's the only interesting part of the song is him. I am the table. I am the root.
Yeah, it's just.
Other than that, it's just more boring shit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like just every part James Hetfield has on this album, just like I feel like it could have been way more. Like I don't know what. Like I feel like everything he has could have been edited out if they didn't utilize him more.
Yeah, like they either should have gone all in on James Hetfield and given him like real choruses and real verses. Or just not used him at all except for guitar.
Yes, I don't.
Not that he used the guitar very well either.
Yeah, it's just every time he's in this album, it's just just fucking funny. Like not like I don't want to say cringy, but kind of. I mean, it's
kind of cringe.
It's just comical and like it. It's just him repeating the same thing over and over to no effect on the song. So
the problem with this album is that the songs don't, neither musically nor lyrically, they don't advance the narrative.
Yeah.
Which if you're trying to tell a story, if you want a concept album, you kind of have to advance the narrative.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it sort of advances in some parts. Like, I mean, I know there's I think the next song, the Pumping Blood song, is kind of what I gathered from it, like when Jack the Ripper maybe enters the story. I don't know.
I was too bored to pay enough attention to the lyrics to get the story.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they don't go anywhere because he'll say the same thing for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to follow if you want to follow it, but I mean, I don't recommend.
But The View overall, funny song. The I Am the Table part's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean.
And speaking of Pumping Blood, this is the first time that the instrumentation becomes weird as well.
That's the next track.
The vocals stay weird the entire time, but the instrumentation is pretty normal in Brandenburg Gate and The View.
Yeah.
A little off from Metallica.
Yeah.
But mostly like something you would hear from, like if I went to a local show, I would expect to hear something along this quality.
Yeah. The part about Pumping Blood, around the 3-minute mark when Lou Reed starts to say, "And my coagulating heart," like, oh my god, the fucking drums until almost the 5-minute mark just are so bad. Like I don't understand.
Is that the same tone he used on Saint Anger? Because it sounds very tinny, very trash canny.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even the tone. Like I feel like for a lot of the album, I kind of like the drum tone, especially the cymbals and the
for
kicks,
a lot of it
snare.
Sounds really good. The snare is questionable,
but the parts are just like, especially like there's a few parts especially, and this is one of them that just it doesn't go with any of the other rest of the music. Like it's just, I mean, we can play a clip of it, but it's just a bunch of random fills and like just so like if I remember correctly, you know, whenever that part hits and he says "in my coagulating heart," he just does this thing on the cymbals where it's like just fucking over and over, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're right. He just hammers on the same. It's like a blast beat, but not interesting.
Yeah, it's just, and that lasts until almost the fucking 5-minute mark, so it's like 2 minutes of just Lou Reed rambling with like the worst fucking drum fills ever going on behind
Like I
him.
said, it sounds like you YouTube searched free backing tracks for guitar players.
But the end of this song is actually one of my favorite parts of the whole album. From after that part, after that whole bad drum part ends and Lou Reed starts saying "Supreme Violation," is what I perceive as like Jack the Ripper, like maybe killing his victim.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I don't know. It gets pretty violent and the lyrics get pretty out there, but it actually kind of ramps up the aggression.
Kind of good, yeah.
Towards the end, I mean, it starts to get really chaotic, but in a good way. And I'm like, if they could have, like I said, either stripped back a lot of the album or ramped it up to be like that, like I feel like this could have been a pretty decent album.
The entire album feels like a bunch of concessions made to each other.
Yeah.
More made by Metallica to Lou Reed, surely.
Yeah, but yeah, that's like honestly is probably the highlight of the album for me is the last like 2 minutes of this song.
It's pretty good. It's not. I don't think that's the highlight for me.
Okay.
But it's pretty good. Now Iced Honey is the worst offender of the backing track thing. It sounds like the worst B-side from the most forgettable rock band of 2003.
Yeah, it's like the instrumental it sounds almost pop punk to me in that song, but like it has like a weird country twang.
It feels like
it's a very weird.
It feels
riff.
like Soul Asylum wrote a song that they fucking hated, and it was like, Metallica, here you go.
Yeah, It's very weird. Like, I mean, granted, I haven't listened to the entirety of Load or Reload, so I mean, maybe some of Metallica's stuff on those albums might sound a little similar, because I mean, some of the stuff I've heard from those albums kind of has like that southern rock twang to it, but this is just like, it sounds like A Day to Remember if they were like fucking mall country. I don't know. It's a very weird instrumental. Like, I don't know how to describe it.
It's wild.
It's definitely just, like, there's nothing like it on the rest of the album.
But it's also not good.
Yeah, it's not good, for sure.
It's just a free backing track.
Yeah, and then fucking, he literally says butterfly in a jar in the song, like, at least 5 or 6 times. It's like a butterfly in a jar.
That part the first time really got me.
Yeah, he's like, iced honey, butterflies, and bees, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
yeah, how do we go from Pumping Blood, which has lyrics that almost make sense, to this shit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, unless you have anything else to say about Ice Honey, we skipped over Mistress Dread. Did you not get any?
Did we?
Yeah, you didn't get any
notes
for that one?
Oh my lord, I must have missed that one completely.
I mean, it's not too noteworthy, because, I mean, it starts off with a pretty good fast-paced instrumental, like, kind of segueing pretty well from Pumping Blood.
Okay.
Kind of keeps up the intensity, but then, like, if I remember, it's like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes of just an instrumental, and it's a pretty thrashy riff. But then the vocals come in, and it like, they're different on this song for me. It sounds like Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys, but, like, making fun of, I don't even know what, like...
I think I missed this song because all the songs kind of run together.
Yeah, I had to go back, and there was a few songs, if I didn't get notes immediately, I had to like go back and listen to a few songs more.
Yeah, I probably just forgot.
One of them.
When I was copying it over, I probably just missed that one.
Yeah, I mean, you really didn't miss much. It was, that was the only thing I pointed out, was that him sounding like Jello Biafra, and then it's literally the same riff, like from the beginning of the song, like the same riff pretty much plays the entire rest of the song for 7 minutes.
It's pretty normal for this album.
Yeah, so...
Cheat on Me.
Yeah.
Dull.
Yeah.
Incredibly dull.
Very repetitive.
It does have one of my favorite lines on the album.
Oh yeah.
Why do I piss my dreams? I don't know what that means.
He's having wet dreams.
I think it means you've been drinking too much, Lou.
Yeah. I mean, he was drinking something to think that shit was a
But
good
other than
idea.
that, it's just very dull. It's like, it continues to be incredibly boring.
Yeah. And it's another song where James just is on it
for no reason.
For no reason. He just says, why do you cheat on me?
Why do I cheat on thee?
But like, in the way he says it, he's like sorrowful, but not in a, he's just like, why do you cheat on me? Like, I don't know.
Like, it feels like...
And it's very, I don't know if it was because I was mostly listening at work with just one headphone, but it was like so low in the mix. I don't know.
It was really low in the mix, yeah.
It's just like so... I don't know. It's just very unnecessary.
I feel like this would have been the perfect time for James to recall to, like, The Unforgiven.
Yeah.
That's a good time that James has sounded sad.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he just forgot that he recorded 5 of those fuckers.
Yeah, this is more like The Unforgiven Part 3, maybe. But, yeah, so, I mean, yeah, another very long, unnecessarily long, just very repetitive song on this album.
Frustration? I think Frustration starts off as a good song.
Yeah, I put it may have started as the most straightforward song on the album. Like, it had a good riff going for it. Like,
yeah, it had good riff.
Kind of a 90s Metallica vibe
Yeah,
to
the
it.
vocals, like, not only the tone of them, but the lyrics weren't offensive to the ears. They were almost tolerable.
Yeah, but then...
And then suddenly they remember, oh no, we're supposed to shock people. People aren't supposed to like this.
Yeah, at the fucking 2.5 minute mark when he says, I feel a pain creep up my leg. It sounded like circus music. Like the
it gets weird.
He was like, I feel a pain creep in my leg. Like,
and then it's weird for like a minute. And then it goes back to the normal stuff again. And then again at the 5 minute mark.
Yeah.
It gets weird again.
Yeah, but like whenever he starts saying that, and it's another part where Lars just starts hitting random shit on the drum. It's like very bad fills, and like it's just so like slightly off with what Lou Reed is saying. It's just very jarring. It's like the cadence of his vocals, and then Lars is like offbeat with his vocals in the background. It's just so like cringy for the rest of that. It's just, I don't know. And then Lou Reed starts to ramble about being dry and spermless like a girl.
Oh,
While Lars is just fucking banging on the drums in the background, like...
I don't like that part.
Yeah.
I like that part. Not the least... It's not my least favorite thing on the album.
It's one of mine.
It's one of them.
I mean, it's a part to where I can go back to it and have a good laugh. Like, you know, at least it's not boring.
Yeah, it's not boring, and it's not the most offensive lyric he says on the album either.
Yeah. But, yeah, and then the line, frustration is my lexicon of hate. I feel like that kind of sums up how people might feel about this album. It's very frustrating.
That line also kind of goes hard.
Yeah.
If it came from anyone else, I'd be like, fuck yeah. But it came from Lou Reed about 40 minutes into this godforsaken album.
Yeah, I don't know. That song was very weird. Like, it had some good things going for it, and then it just kind of fucked itself.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah. So, yeah, next is Little Dog. This might actually be the worst song on the album.
It probably is. It's my least favorite track, at least.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's viscerally disgusting.
Yeah, I'm just like, what is fucking going on here?
It has my least favorite line on the album.
I already know what it is.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
Oh, my God. Oh, I wrote, as long as you can raise that little doggy face to a cold-hearted pussy, you can have a taste of what the big dog got.
Yeah,
Lou Reed, you were talking about a little dog. Even if it's just allegorically, metaphorically, I don't fucking care. You were talking about a puppy.
Yeah, it just does not.
And you were being so... You're talking about little wieners.
Little
talking
wieners.
about dog vagina.
Yeah, it's just very, like... And again, it's like, not that I or really anyone else cares to delve into the meaning of these lyrics and that pertains to the story, so it's like, it's just...
Yeah, it's just disgusting, because I don't care enough.
Yeah.
I'm too bored.
It's like, I'm sure
to parse through it.
Yeah, I'm sure it has some meaning, but nobody wants to fucking find out the meaning. They're just gonna hear that and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't... Like, it's just disgusting. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it holds one of the most out there lyrics in that, but, I mean, nothing really happens for
Yeah, overall, it's a boring... Isn't it? This one's like, what, 9 minutes? Or something?
Yeah. The fucking last half of this album drags. Like,
yeah.
Like, if I had to pick a side, it would definitely be side 1. Like, I can't remember when side 2 starts. I think it might be with either Cheat on Me or Frustration.
Probably.
But it just fucking drags on.
There is one song from side 2 that I really like, actually. It's his next song, Little Dragon? Or just Dragon? Dragon. I really like Dragon.
Really?
It's not the best song I've ever heard.
I don't have much notes. Literally, the only thing I wrote for it was what I just said, that the last half of this album drags. So I mean,
like Dragon, it's almost good. The riff is pretty solid. It's the same riff the entire song because it's fucking Lulu.
It has a solo, right? Does it? Is this the one?
It does have a solo. So the riff is pretty pretty catchy. The vocals aren't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, lyrically or to the ears. The solo, though, if you really want to call it that, it sounds like you found somebody who has never seen a guitar in their life, and it's like, hey man, do you want a job as a studio soloist?
Yeah. I literally don't remember any of it, but I don't doubt that.
Parts of it
that.
sound almost like a Tom Morello deconstruction of a solo, so I think they did it on purpose to like deconstruct what it meant to have space for a solo in a song.
Yeah.
And if that's what they meant, this is the most artistically full song on the album as well.
All right. I mean, I believe you. I don't know. It was one of those, like, I just didn't really get any like, I listened to it. I listened to the whole album, I think, 3 times, and then this was one of the songs I listened to an extra 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I had to listen to this an extra time to get it.
Yeah,
like,
I really didn't get much from it, so I'm glad you did, because I didn't write shit down.
I think the problem is, once you're that far in the album, you're too tired to like it anymore. I just happened to take a day off and then go back and listen to this track, and it fucking got me.
Okay, nice.
The problem is the next track.
Junior Dad.
The final track. It's 19 minutes and 40 seconds or something.
I don't understand why critics
highlighted
this song.
I understand why critics highlighted this song.
Why is that?
It is the longest you go without hearing Lou fucking Reed on this entire album.
I mean, yeah, like the ending is literally just 9 minutes of the same violin
about half
part.
the song does not have Lou Reed, which I would put in the positives category. I would put in the very positive category. I would mortgage my house to get more of that on this album.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, yeah, the last 9 minutes are just a repeating violin part, and I mean...
It's a whole string quartet, I think. I hear a violin and definitely a bass. I think there might be a cello and a viola.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more than violin.
But they're just playing a chord for what feels like a whole, like, 2 measures before moving on to the next one, and it's just not... It needs to be faster to be more interesting. It needs more notes to be interesting.
Yeah, like, it definitely didn't need to drag on for 9 minutes, but I mean... At least you can turn it off and not miss anything. I mean, you know, after the first time I heard it, I listened
to this song once. Exactly once.
Yeah. I think I listened to...
No, I listened to it twice. I did listen to it twice.
I listened to the first part at least. Yeah. At least twice, maybe 3 times, but then...
I skipped the violin part every time.
Yeah.
I knew what was coming.
Yeah, so, like, you know, at least you can cut out about 9 minutes.
There was a bell 2 times.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you remember the bell.
No, I do not remember the bell.
It was like the 15 minute mark.
It did a ting.
Ting. and then it waits another couple chords and then ting.
You know what? We need to find out who played the fucking bell on this song.
It was probably Lars.
I'm gonna need to look that up. I don't know if Lars is capable of playing anything but like 3 toms and a snare. So like I don't know.
Surely there's a bell on his kit somewhere. He has a China, right? Chinas have bells on them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, I can't find any bell credits, but
I think it had to be Lars.
I mean, you were right. There's a cello on Little Dog in Frustration.
There's a cello on Little Dog in Frustration. Is there a cello on Junior Dad?
Nope, but there was a stand-up electric bass.
A stand-up electric bass?
Yeah.
That's a lot cheaper than a real stand-up bass.
Yeah. And then, you know, there's some viola on Junior Dad.
Okay, I knew there was something between violin and
it says there's a
upright
celloist named Markia Hughes is just credited for the whole album, but then it says Ulrich Myas does cello on Little Dog in Frustration. So I guess there probably is cello on Junior Dad.
There's probably cello. I don't know. I'm not...
Yeah.
My ear's not good enough to separate all those fucking bowed string instruments.
Yes, I mean... Lars might have been tinging that bell.
He just tinged it twice.
Tinged it twice. Just 2 bells. That's all this album
2 toings. There should have been more bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, boring.
Yeah.
Boring song.
Yeah, you know, we for this podcast at the end we want to go over the best 3 or so songs from the album, but I really just got 3 best moments. Like I could not single out
I just got Dragon. Dragon is just the only good quote unquote song.
The only parts I got, I mean, like I said, the end of Pumping Blood, that was probably the best part of the album for me. Cool. The beginning of Mistress Dread was pretty decent, and the beginning of Frustration, I mean,
it's really
those were really the only 3 parts where I was like, this, you know, if they did it more like this album really could have worked.
Yeah, I think there is a way that this album could have been good, and it's letting Metallica push it up.
Yeah.
Instead of Lou Reed being like, no, it's gotta be avant-garde.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should have just been a fucking metal album with spoken word. That would have been cool.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if I had to pick one song, if somebody held a gun to my head and said I had to listen to one of these songs every single day for the rest of my life,
It would be the shortest one, first of all.
Yeah, I mean that's a good approach.
I don't care how bad it is.
I would probably go with Pumping Blood just because I like the the beginning's not awful. I really like the end, and the middle is just funny. So at least I can get enjoyment out of how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if I had to listen to one song every day, it'd be Brandenburg Gate because it's really short.
Yeah,
and it's not that bad.
Yeah,
it's not
town girl.
Small town girl.
Yeah, so
yeah, like listening to that every day wouldn't be the worst thing in my life.
Yeah.
As far as like the worst lyrics, I just have the one that I've already said about the little dog and the pussy.
Yeah, that's on mine. I had the cut my legs and tits off part was on my worst ones. Then I also got I forget what song this is from, but me, I am happy because I got my little nappy. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't catch that. No, that one went right over my head.
I know it was on one of the earlier songs. It might have been on Brandenburg Gate.
Maybe.
It definitely wasn't on The View. I don't know.
Who knows? But like I don't know. Just every time
somewhere in there.
Every time I tried to think of lyrics, it would just come back to the little dog part.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get any more.
Yeah. And then I also got Waggle My Ass Like a Dark Prostitute, Coagulating Blood, Pumping Blood. Come on, James. Did you hear that part?
I did hear him say, come on, James.
Come on, James. And like, it's just, it's not like he went into a solo or anything. Just like, come on, James. And then
the song just keeps going the way it was. Yeah. Nothing changes.
Yeah, so...
Which is the perfect, like allegory or metaphor for this album.
The antithesis of this album.
That is what this album is about. It's him saying, let's do this, and then nothing changing.
Yeah. He says, let him cook, but there's no cooking going on here.
Let them cook, he says, when the kitchen is in the other house.
Yeah, the kitchen is down for today. But did you have a worst 3 songs? Did you manage to narrow it down to just 3?
I mean, Junior Dad, Little Dog, and Frustration.
Okay, mine were Little Dog, Cheat on Me, and Dragon.
I like Dragon.
I need to go. I mean, yeah, you said don't go back and listen to it.
Don't go back and listen to it. But like...
I don't know.
If you ever feel like it.
I might need to.
The solo is shit.
Yeah, I might need to, just to have a little change of heart maybe. I don't know if we kind of agree with the consensus, but on Metascore, based on 31 reviews, this has 45%. Based on critic reviews, so that seems a little high for me, but the user score is 2.3 out of 10.
That's still a little high for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going out of 10 rating, I give it 1.7.
Yeah.
Like, it's still failing.
I give it no higher than a 3. So
I would give it no higher than a 2.
No higher than a 2.
I'm thinking of 1.7. But I will say, like...
I'll go with a 2.1. I'll go a little under the user review.
As far as our rating score, which is like, how much of this did you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say give one song a shot. Just choose whichever song we talked about that sounded the best to you.
Yeah, I mean, you can go with one of the more out there moments that we mentioned, and we'll try to put some clips in here so you can get an idea of what that sounds like. Or you could go with, like Austin said, Little Dragon.
You might
Dragon,
like that not Little
bit.
Dragon, but
or Dragon. Yeah, I don't know why we keep calling it Little Dragon.
Because Little Dog is right before Dragon.
This album is not Little Dragon. It's fucking entirely dragging.
It is nothing but dragging.
Yeah, there's nothing little about the dragging on this fucking album. But yeah, I mean, I would either go with that or my recommendation, Pumping Blood. I mean,
yeah. So check out Pumping Blood or Dragon or whichever song we talked about that you want to listen to.
If you want to go to The View and hear the I Am the Table, if
that is fun to listen to.
If you somehow haven't heard that meme, then you can go with that.
But outside of Morbid Curiosity, throw it in the trash.
Yeah, I don't. This doesn't deserve one last breath.
Out of Morbid Curiosity, not only does it deserve one last breath, I would prefer to murder it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I've known about this album for a long while. The only part I knew was I Am the Table. I didn't know anything else about this album besides the fact that, like, why the fuck are these artists teaming up? And
yeah,
like, I mean, if I Am the Table is the most popular thing from it, then it can't be good. So
yeah, like, it's been 12 years since this album came out. About 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
It should have never come out in 2011. It should never come out.
If I can put Lou Reed in the grave, so do with that what you will. I mean,
so yeah, Morbid Curiosity. Listen to one song. Other than that, don't.
Yeah, take the life support off of this album. Not that it has any, but I mean, it is really weird though. You know, I see some apologists for this album now.
There are Lulu apologists.
Yeah, I mean, when it first came out, you had the critics that. I mean, I feel like most of them were just trying to be contrarian.
Yeah. Critics do like doing that.
Especially that one that I mentioned in
They
the
gave it a
beginning.
10.
Yeah, like that definitely was a troll. But, you know, there were some that I read review-wise that gave it praise and it seemed genuine. Like, it didn't seem like they were just doing it. I don't know. So, I mean, it might work for some people.
Yeah, I'm sure there is an audience for this.
I mean, if you like Lou Reed and Metallica, then maybe. Or, I mean, if you like... I would say probably not Metallica fans. I feel like Lou Reed fans would more enjoy this
probably,
than Metallica fans would.
Harsh noise fans would get a huge kick out of this because it is a lot of... It's not harsh, but it is a god-awful amount of noise.
Yeah, it's just old man screaming at the sky in album form. Like, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's some apologists for this album. I mean, going on YouTube and forums and stuff, like on Reddit, there's some people that are like, you know, this isn't as bad as people thought. Like, you know, people kind of didn't give it a chance out the gate, but after we've given it a chance, I can't say that I agree with that.
And I don't agree. But this has been One Last Breath, an autopsy of awful albums.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.